They turned my dream retirement home into a construction site while I was away. But the biggest shock was not the broken walls. It was hearing my own son calmly tell me that I no longer needed the master bedroom because he and his wife had already decided the house belonged to them. They thought I would stay quiet. They had no idea I had spent 40 years learning exactly how to stay calm before changing everything. My name is Evelyn Brooks, and I was 71 years old when my own son taught me that betrayal does not always come from strangers. Sometimes it comes from the child you sacrificed everything to raise. After 4 decades of working exhausting double shifts as a nurse, I finally bought the beach house I had dreamed about for years. Every wall, every window, and every piece of furniture reminded me that hard work could still build something beautiful, even after losing my husband and rebuilding my life from nothing. I drove 4 hours expecting a peaceful weekend by the ocean, but the moment I arrived, I knew something was terribly wrong. Construction materials covered my front yard. Workers walked through my home without asking permission, and my daughter-in-law stood on the deck giving orders like she owned the property. Inside, my beautiful kitchen had been ripped apart. Cabinets were hanging off the walls, the floor was covered in dust, and the house I loved looked like a disaster zone. When I demanded an explanation, my son smiled as though he was giving me wonderful news. He proudly announced that he and his wife had decided to renovate the house because they planned to move in permanently with her parents. According to him, I already had an apartment in the city, so I did not need 2 homes. He even told me I could stay in a tiny storage room while they enjoyed the master bedroom. Hearing those words felt worse than losing the house itself, because I realized they had already erased me from my own future. That night, while they laughed downstairs planning their new life, I found documents they never expected me to see. Hidden among renovation papers was a power of attorney that would have given my son complete control over every property I owned. They were not simply taking one house. They wanted everything I had spent a lifetime building. Instead of crying or arguing, I quietly photographed every document and called the only person I completely trusted, my attorney. Before sunrise, my lawyer arrived with every legal document proving the beach house belonged solely to me. Together, we prepared eviction notices, orders stopping the illegal construction, and a lawsuit demanding payment for every dollar of damage. I stayed completely silent while my son and his wife enjoyed breakfast, believing they had already won. The following morning, officers knocked on the front door exactly at 6 o'clock. My son walked downstairs half asleep, expecting another construction crew. Instead, he was handed legal papers ordering him to leave my property immediately. His confidence disappeared within seconds. His wife burst into tears while accusing me of destroying the family. But I reminded them that families ask for permission. They do not steal. The inspection later revealed the damage was far worse than anyone expected. Walls had been weakened, plumbing damaged, electrical wiring exposed, and thousands of dollars worth of repairs were needed. My son begged me to forgive him and offered only a small portion of the money, hoping I would cancel the lawsuit. For the first time in my life, I refused to rescue him from the consequences of his own decisions. When the case reached court, every photograph, every document, and every lie collapsed under the truth. The judge ruled completely in my favor and ordered my son to pay for every dollar of damage. Walking out of the courtroom did not feel like victory. It felt like saying goodbye to the family I believed I had. But sometimes protecting your peace costs more than keeping other people happy. Months later, letters slowly began arriving. My son admitted he had spent years believing my property already belonged to him. Therapy forced him to face the truth that entitlement had destroyed his marriage, his finances, and nearly his relationship with his mother forever. Every month he faithfully paid another portion of the debt until every cent was returned. Today my beach house is more beautiful than ever. The sound of the waves once again brings peace instead of pain. I still love my son, but love no longer means surrendering my dignity. I finally understood that the greatest inheritance a parent can leave is not money or property. It is teaching that every choice carries consequences, and that respect can never be demanded through greed. Sometimes the strongest act of love is having the courage to say no, even when it breaks your own heart.